It is Wednesday, Parshas Pinchas, Tes Zayin Tammuz Tufshin Pai Vov, and it's July 1st, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm here to bring you the news of what happened in the last 24 hours on Edge. I guess the Iran MOU is naturally a disaster.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Today's news is sponsored to you by My Home Finish, Halo 2 high-functioning water, and kosher skinny shot. U.S. President Donald J. Trump is considering a full-scale military attack against Iran on his way in the new Air Force One, but he's waiting to see if they can still reach a final deal, which they say they probably are. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has a new security and military plan despite its current ceasefire with Lebanon. In Venezuela, the number of people killed by the massive two double earthquakes has now passed 1,900 people dead. We're talking about almost close to 2,000. Wave, a company called Wave, W-A-Y-V-E, has revealed an AI driving system that learns to drive like humans. We have the details on these stories coming up next, only here on Edge. But first, kosher skinny shot, 845-456-8924. Again, the number is 845-456-8924. You can visit the website at kosherskinnyshot.com. Remember, you have to ask your doctor about this before you go into anything. But Kosher Skinny Shot is there for you to change your lifestyle, to change the way you think about when you eat food. Literally, I say think. Yes, the way you think about when you eat and drink. You're processing, Your brain is basically telling you you're done. You're finished eating. You're not done. You have to eat more. It's all to do with that. Call them. They'll guide you through every step of the way. Kosher Skinny Shot. U.S. President Donald J. Trump is considering another full-scale military attack against Iran, but he's trying to be patient for the sake of reaching a final U.S.-Iran deal. This decision was made after Trump met with Secretary of War, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. After the meeting, Trump decided to let negotiations continue. The Wall Street Journal also said that Trump is willing to go past the August 18 deadline if that means he can get rid of Iran's nuclear weapons. Now, as you already know, it is Vice President J.D. Vance who is leading the American diplomatic effort. He confirmed that active technical talks are ongoing right now in Doha and Qatar and whatever. So, what's happening under these technical talks is the following. Let's go to Doha, Qatar first, where, the indirect discussions to build on one of the current written agreement on the current. See, I'm so confused already where we're up to. It's about the talks that they're going to discuss the technical agreements on the current written agreement. No one knows, nobody cares, and they all know where this is heading. I mean, we don't, but we can see. Yesterday, two U.S. representatives, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, met with the Prime Minister of Qatar. And as we already reported, Qatar did not release Iran's frozen money, obviously, as of yet. They also clarified the contents of the current agreement. Under this framework, Iran's nuclear program is mostly stopped, but they still remain a serious threat since they have over 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. This uranium is exactly what is needed to make a nuclear weapon any time. Why would a country need, like Marco Rubio just claimed on CBS News, why would a country need 60%? No country who wants a civil nuclear program needs 60% uranium, or you only want that when you want to build a nuclear bomb. And why would you want ICBMs to the moon? For what reason? Only to put a nuclear warhead on that. And also, why would you bury it 300 feet under the ground or more? Why would you bury it? So they want access to the three sites that they successfully bombed, the United States, but they want access to those sites to make sure there's not a dust left of this enriched 60% uranium anytime. As part of the diplomatic push, Iran and the US and Lebanon agreed to set up a joint committee called the Deconflation Committee that will oversee the end of the war in Lebanon with Hezbollah. Vance noted that Israel and Lebanon are now talking directly to each other and are mostly in agreement. Before this, Iran's chief negotiator said that the fighting in Lebanon must stop first before they sign the final agreement with the US. So, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made sure a direct agreement happened between Lebanon and Israel. Inside Iran, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz again. The IRGC warns that they will close the waterway unless the Doha peace talks guarantee Iran full control over it. This message was sent through a Qatari mediator. The IRGC also demanded that Western countries stop using the southern shipping route next to the coast of Oman, which was opened up as a direct bypass. This standoff is happening at the same time Iran is starting to ship oil by sea again, to sell it to China, sell it to Russia, I guess. But U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says that the American military is the only reason the oil is still flowing through the strait. J.D. Vance said, "So I think what the president has told us to do is to use this MOU to sort of refill the world's oil economy and to refill some of the stock market and obviously then see where, the hand is." In response, the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament warned that if America blocks their oil sales again, Iran is ready for a full-scale war. The Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, the new one, who replaced Ali Larijani, also issued a direct threat against Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He stated that their plan for revenge remains wide open for the deaths of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who died a very precise death, might I say, and others. Well, he warned that the leaders who gave the orders and the people who carried out the actions will be punished. In early June, well, his funeral is happening right now. In early June, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council also announced that Israel would be attacked if they struck Lebanon. But it's now July 1st. All these Iranian threats can be summarized as all bark and no bite. Even Iranian citizens are saying that empty threats are destroying the IRGC's credibility. Early this morning, a U.S. Navy helicopter had to make an emergency landing in the water. It happened in the Arabian Sea. The helicopter came from the American aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush, which is stationed in the region where 4 crew members were on board. 3 of them were pulled from the water and are in stable condition back on the actual carrier. The Navy is still searching for the 4th crew member who is still missing. The Navy says there is no sign that the helicopter was shot down or hit by an enemy. They are still checking what caused it to come down. The UN Agency for Palestinians, which is, in other words, UNRWA, we mentioned many times, is running out of money and is close to shutting down. We all know why. Because the money that they got until now was used for the Palestinian jihadists or the Hamasnikas to basically build weapons, wire up bombs from civilian tents and obviously target those tents, well, because the IDF obviously shoots back and they shoot at those tents, which claims the lives of many people that they claim are innocent. And of course, there's a place called Gaza, let me remember the name, Gaza Wood it's called, where they upload so many different clips to show different people, the same Palestinian man holding different babies on different clips and different pictures, and also kids being used as actors to stage that there is a famine, there's starvation in Gaza, and so many different things just to push propaganda. Anyway, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says that the agency needs $100 million immediately, obviously, to help Hamas build more weapons. But the American team obviously told those member countries that they can either fund incitement and terrorism through UNRWA or fund the Board of Peace instead, which they think is a better option. It's very clear, obviously, what goes on there. Anyway, let's continue. 2 of Iran's IRGC members were killed, and another was wounded. This happened after gunmen suddenly opened fire outside the Revolutionary Guard home in the western Kermanshah province of Iran. The Hengor Organization for Human Rights reported that a newly established group named Kor-e-Hiva has claimed responsibility for this attack. Now, what's happening lately in Iran is that there are militia groups, little groups that are gathering against the regime and obviously gathering weapons. Some of them have been confiscated, and actually the IRGC has set up a huge anti-terrorism, so to speak, group to basically dismantle these groups that are trying to overthrow them. Well, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, 2 of them were killed. Choosing the right window treatments should not cost a fortune, and that is why so many people trust My Home Finish, the top leading brand in the industry. And their dedicated Heimischer team comes down, and yes, 100% Heimischer staff, by the way. They come down right to your door, serving Muncie, Monroe, upstate New York, and the Catskills. And they have an experience that, well, because of the experience of a large company and a top leading brand, they have the ability to obviously give you the best prices, and they're cheaper than 90% of the competitors. So, without even cutting corners. So customers come back for the prices, come back for the wonderful service, but they never come back for the quality, which is what they say, their motto, and actually it's actually true, because the quality lasts. My Home Finish, designed to last. 845-372-6613. That's My Home Finish, or info@myhomefinish.com. You can visit the website, myhomefinish.com, as well. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel wants to eliminate all terrorists who took part in the October 7th massacre. To do this, the Israeli military will launch a 3rd strike against Iran if necessary. I said this 2 days ago already, that they're ready. Netanyahu also visited soldiers inside southern Lebanon. This visit occurred just a few days after Israel and Lebanon signed the framework agreement to pause the fighting. He told the military to act immediately if they see any danger. not to ask any questions, obviously. And that order was put into action today. Israeli forces killed a Hezbollah terrorist who approached them near the village of Al-Manzala. Now, Netanyahu says the original Hezbollah stockpile of 150,000 rockets has been cut down to just 8%. He is demanding that Iran and Hezbollah leave the area completely. In Gaza, Islamic Jihad commander Taleb Abd al-Al, his name is, has now been killed in a series of precision strikes. He was that one who kidnapped and tortured a festival attendee named Ron Berslavsky for 738 days. Berslavsky, who survived the brutality and captivity of the Hamas and was in Gaza for all these days, for 738 days. It's not a joke. Ron Berslavsky. He's now a full-fledged Shemesh Shabbos, Torah mitzvahs, and when he was called by the Israeli military to tell him that they killed his captor, and he wasn't his. Let me just tell you, he wasn't his.
לא מפחדים מהדרך הארוכה. זה הבן אדם הזה, זה היה הראש של כולם, זה היה הזבל הראשי.
זה היה ראש הנחש.
וואלה, איזה כיף לשמוע שהוא לא ממשיך, אתה יודע, אני כל הזמן חושב לעצמי מה איתו, הוא אוכל, הוא שותה, הבן זה.
Anyway, you hear that. So he was basically saying that he was crying. You could see in his car when he got the call, Ron Berslavsky. It was a very emotional moment. He said it triggered me. My first reaction was crying, and I'm not a person who cries often. It moved me to see that, he said. He was killed alongside a top commander from Islamic Jihad also. Both of these terrorists took part in the October 7th massacre where Yidden were brutally murdered, burned and other things. They had continued directing terror attacks throughout the war, obviously, and the precision strikes also eliminated the commander of the Hamas Yibna battalion in Rafah. They also killed a senior Hamas chief who was in charge of smuggling weapons into the country, into Gaza. At the same time, Netanyahu outlined a new security strategy on top of the Israeli-Lebanon agreement. The plan is to put a large number of reserve soldiers and buffer zones outside Israel's borders. This includes a newly set up 10-kilometer security belt inside of Lebanon. As for the Gaza Strip, he said that the voluntary move of residents remain an option. And he's also not denying rumors about building new Jewish communities in that settlements inside of Gaza, inside of Lebanon. Lebanon or Gaza? Did I just say Lebanon? Yeah, in Gaza. Sorry, in Gaza. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz announced that new sanctions targeting the finances of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is the IRGC, well, as you know them, this sanction successfully blocked dozens of cryptocurrency wallets used by the IRGC. Officials say these digital accounts were set up to pay for Hezbollah terror operations. The wallets moved about 24 million shekels to Iranian terror groups before they were shut down by the Israelis. All the way to the United States, the House of Representatives voted to let American soldiers stay in Lebanon. They decided against the bill proposed by Representative, obviously, Rashida Tlaib, who wanted to force American troops out of the Middle East. 22 Democrats joined Republicans to block the plan. The final vote was 189 to 235 votes. Still a lot. This is a major drop from the 117 Democrats who opposed an earlier version of this bill. Now, American forces can stay if they are protecting embassies or fighting Hezbollah. The Pentagon has ordered U.S. Central Command and military intelligence to work much closer with Israel this time. Now they are building a new target bank and creating a joint operational plan. The American military says the strategy is designed to defeat the enemy in one or several campaigns. These preparations are going on despite the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire. Under the current agreement, Lebanon has a maximum of 2 months to meet its commitments. If Lebanon fails to do so, a third round of war could break out. More talks between Israel and Lebanon are planned for the first half of July. The Vision Singulat and Bukharim was set themselves up right outside the Ministry of Justice in Israel as a protest and set themselves up with tables and chairs, obviously, a full besmedrish outside the Ministry of Justice to learn Torah Bakol, Hakol Bakol, I guess, as a protest against the arrests. And a tragedy took place in Netanya where Harav Amos Goeta Shemi Kedume was murdered inside his Besmedrish. The 75-year-old Rebbe was stabbed multiple times on Rechav Shimon Bar Yochai. Terrible tragedy, by the way, such a thing to happen. This attack happened between Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, middle of the night. Police say the attacker was a mentally unstable man who was a former student of the Rebbe from the Talmud, and the suspect had reportedly come into the yeshiva to pray with the Rebbe before the attack. At that time of the stabbing, several former criminals who had returned to religious observance were sitting with the Rebbe. Emergency workers rushed to the Rebbe to the hospital in critical condition, but doctors were unable to save his life. Police have arrested the suspect, and this tragic stabbing happened during a wave of violent crime in Israel, with 3 different killings taking place in less than 1 hour apart. In the separate incidents, further north, a bus driver was shot and killed, and another man was shot to death outside a shopping mall. These other 2 killings were obviously crime-related, gangs, but it was Arab and Bedouin gangs, and Israeli citizens, but Arabs. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there. There's not much information going on there, but it looks like a local crime gang. Anyway, let's continue. A judge has sentenced a killer to serve only 1 year in county jail, followed by probation. He was the killer of 69-year-old Paul Kessler, a Yid, Shem Yikun Domeh. Kessler was killed near Los Angeles as a protest began. A protest against Hamas rally happened on November 5th, 2023. He was standing up to Hamas supporters when whatever his name is, a 53-year-old Jordanian immigrant and a college professor crossed the street and hit him in the head with a megaphone. Kessler fell, hit his head on the pavement, and died from his injuries. Paul Kessler was the first Jewish American killed in the United States by supporters of Hamas right after October 7th massacre. Officials have formally objected the light sentence, arguing that this guy belongs in a state prison instead of local county jail. The widow of Paul Kessler also spoke about her deep pain, stating that her grief is relentless. Let's talk about halo water. Sometimes, hydration is not just about quenching your thirst. It's about taking care of your body. And you have to understand that there's Halo 2. That's where Halo 2 comes in. Every bottle delivers ultra-clean, refreshing alkaline water with a crisp pH 9+ balance. Your body needs this pH to be able to absorb the water inside your body and where you need it, to be able to protect yourself from these unwanted viruses. Premium hydration. This is Halo 2. You can find it in your local grocery store. Available everywhere. I'm trying to find out still if they're available in Europe. I'm going to get you the information. But for now, they're available everywhere. Halo 2, best water you could ever buy yourself. If you need good water, pick this up from the store. Affordable, good prices, and it's good water. All right, let's continue the news. The Supreme Court has rejected an executive order by President Donald J. Trump. The order attempted to end birthright citizenship in the United States. In a 6-3 ruling on Tuesday, the High Court decided that the Constitution guarantees citizenship to anyone born on American soil. This includes children of illegal immigrants and temporary visitors. The blocked order would have required a baby to have at least one parent living legally in the country to become a citizen. After this decision was released, President Trump posted a message on Truth Social. He sarcastically posted, "I would like to congratulate Xi Jinping from China and the great country of China on their massive birthright citizenship win, because they have that kind of thing." Vice President J.D. Vance called this ruling a major mistake. Vance warned that it could encourage more illegal immigration and birth tourism. Looks like the nomination, for those of you who remember, of Mr. Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump, who actually nominated her, Amy Coney Barrett. He's only working against him lately. Despite losing the court case, the Justice Department is increasing efforts in stopping birth tourism. The head of the department's new fraud division issued a memo on Tuesday. The memo states that the Justice Department will target people who exploit the immigration system, specifically to give birth on American soil. This major ruling marks the end of the current Supreme Court term. The Supreme Court will decide if local bans on semi-automatic guns violate the Second Amendment. The court will hear 2 cases challenging AR-15 bans in Cook County, Illinois, and Connecticut. Some argued that the law-abiding citizens use semi-automatic guns for self-defense at home. Cook County officials disagree, obviously. They say that criminals and terrorists use these weapons for mass shootings. By the way, the hearing of Charlie Kirk's murderer is still going on. President Donald J. Trump has approved federal disaster funding for 3 states to help them recover from severe weather. Georgia will receive $318 million to recover from Hurricane Helene, I think it's called. Michigan will get $32 million to repair damage from severe storms, tornadoes, and flooding that happened recently. Wisconsin was approved for $22 million for storm and flood recovery. President Trump used these announcements to boost local politics, obviously. He listed more than a dozen federal and state Republican candidates who have his complete endorsement in Michigan and in Wisconsin. He is starting to rally now, by the way. 14 House Republicans blocked the U.S. military budget from passing because it did not include the strict new election voting law, the SAVE Act law. These conservative Republicans blocked these defense bills because this defense bill, it did not include the Save America Act. That act is a strict election voting law, right? You know about this. The House of Representatives already passed that voting law 3 times, but it did not have enough to support from the Democrats to pass in the Senate. Conservative House members are demanding that Senate Republicans remove the 60-vote filibuster rule to force the voting law through. The filibuster is a political strategy where lawmakers take too much time to talk, and so voting cannot even happen. It takes 60 votes to stop the long discussions and just proceed to the voting. Trump told the House Republicans last week to stop blocking these votes, but the conservative members ignored his request today. Right now, there is no clear plan for how the House will pass this defense budget right before the July 4th break. President Trump flew on his brand new Air Force One for the very first time today. It is Boeing 747 that the country of Qatar gifted him. He gifted the United States a $400 million plane. This plane, like I said, is worth about $400 million, obviously modified by the United States military. Trump had it repainted in his own style, a dark navy blue on the bottom with a red, white and gold stripes with the American flag on it. Gone is the light blue color that Air Force One has worn since the days of President Kennedy. Inside there are leather seats that lie flat, wood paneling, gold lights and the presidential seal right on the seatbelts. Trump called it, quote, maybe the greatest commercial airplane ever built for America. He said, frankly, we couldn't build a plane like this because we wouldn't be willing to spend that kind of money necessary for this. They spent top dollar, the Qatarians. He also pointed out that the old Air Force One was 35 to 36 years old, and in his words, it really didn't look appropriate for our country, obviously. Now, the new plane carried Trump to North Dakota, and he landed this morning and then rode into a very small town of Medora on a special train called the Freedom 250 train. A crowd was waiting there to greet him, cheering as he stepped off the train to shake hands, and then he came to open the new Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library as part of America's 250th birthday. Now, obviously, we'll talk about something very interesting. Not everyone is very happy about the gift. Some lawmakers are questioning whether the president should take such an expensive plane from a foreign country. And the plane was officially given to the U.S. military, and Trump will use it until Boeing finishes the permanent new ones in about 2 years. They have to build 2 of these. I don't know if you know this, by the way. After that, the plane is set to go to Trump's presidential library, and this July 4th, the new jet will lead a flyover to celebrate America's turning 250 years old. President Donald J. Trump made over $2 billion in 2025 during his first year back in office. Government financial records show that his total income was between $1.4 billion and $2.2 billion. A large part of this money came from his cryptocurrency and digital coin business. The government filings show that his crypto income alone was estimated between $580 million and $1.4 billion. This digital income was much higher than what the president made from his traditional real estate business. It also brought in far more money than selling Trump-themed merchandise. These massive financial gains happened as President Trump approved several new government policies that support cryptocurrency during his second term. Let's talk about crypto and currency and money. If you don't have all that and you need money for an investment, you have YS Capital Group. You can call them YS Capital Group. The answer is yes, 718-831-2168. Find out about the no closing cost loans. Outgoing UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who has resigned, is going out soon, has announced a major increase in military spending. Interesting, right before he leaves. The British government released its new defence investment plan, which adds £15 billion to the defence budget. This money will be used to buy new equipment for the British Armed Forces over the coming years. This investment is designed to keep the country safe and help the UK meet its NATO spending targets. To pay for this extra funding, Starmer is cutting other government budgets. But even with those cuts, the defence plan does not fully cover the costs. The strategy will ultimately leave the next Prime Minister with a shortage of over £4 billion. The death toll from the double earthquakes in Venezuela has now climbed to 1,943 people killed. More than 10,500 people are hurt, injured, and tens of thousands are still missing. Almost 16,000 people have lost their homes. And new satellite pictures show the full scale of the destruction. Close to 59,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed. The country is facing a severe crisis, with officials warning that they do not have enough morgues or refrigeration units for the bodies being found, sadly. Survivors and rescue workers are accusing the government of blocking aid and making it harder to reach people trapped under the rubble. In one devastated area, police officers were caught stealing cash from destroyed apartments. When local residents saw the police looting, angry crowds snatched the money back from the officers and tore the cash bills apart. Despite these terrible conditions, rescue teams are still finding them miracles here and there. A 3-year-old boy, like I said, the baby that was saved 3 days ago, I said it. A 3-year-old boy was pulled alive from the rubble after being trapped for 6 days there, and he was pulled alive. He was immediately rushed to the hospital, obviously. And an Israeli aid team is also now flying another group over to Venezuela to help with these rescue efforts. The team includes military advisors, engineers, and disaster experts from the home front commands. Following the disaster, the sky over the capital city of Caracas turned bright red at sunset. Scientists say that this is a rare visual event known as earthquake lights. This happens when the extreme friction of tectonic plates releases electrical energy into the air. Very fascinating to see, by the way. At the same time, devastating. Let's talk about Arrive Express. Arrive Express, your taxi company when you need to go places, right? Now you're driving back and forth the country and everywhere. 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111 from Palm Tree, from KJ. A self-driving car startup company based in London is bringing in massive amounts of money right now. The company is called Wayve, W-A-Y-V-E. It has already raised $2.8 billion from investors. Some of the biggest technology and car companies in the world are backing this business. That's because Wayve does things a little bit differently. They use a special kind of artificial intelligence that learns how to drive by watching humans. The system takes information from cameras and sensors and instantly translates it into driving decisions. This is similar to how Tesla cars drive. I guess while Tesla only uses cameras, Wayve's technology can work with all kinds of different sensors and computer chips. What that means that Wayve can sell its technology to almost any car company in the world. 347-354-1237. Do I have to tell you who this is? Protobyte, obviously. Proto-byte.com is your company to go to when you need to design yourself software, programs, websites. All right, my friends, I'm going to finish here. Have yourself... On Edge News. If you don't yet know about On Edge News, this program is obviously available in your, on YouTube. You can subscribe, like and subscribe in English, but this is a new program in English. The actual major program that I host is in Yiddish, which you can find exclusively on Yiddish24.com, and also on Kol Mevaser 111 or 118 from the main menu. Information is down here below. All right, I'll leave you to it. All the best. Hatzlacha Rabba. See you later.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.